Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome for our Saturday session of Srimad Ramayana. I hope you can hear me. If not, you let me know. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, we can hear you.
Welcome. Umagyanatimirandhasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kujantam Rama Rameti, Madhuram Madhuraksharam, Aruhya Kavita Shakham, Vande Valmiki Kokilam, Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam, Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham, Vatatmajam Vanarayotha Mukhyam, Shri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami, Apadam Apahartaram, Dataram Sarvasampadam, Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam, Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham, Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya, Vame Cha Janakatmaja, Purato Marutir Yasya, Tam Vande Raghunandanam. We discussed last week the 27 some meanings that Sri Periyavachan Pillai gives for the one act of Sita Devi of placing a blade of grass between her and Ravana before she addressed him. Trunam antaratah kritva Ravanam prati abhashata. Now, once she placed that blade of grass, she responded to Ravana, who in the previous chapter tried to convince her why she should consent to his proposal of becoming his wife or queen and enjoy with him. So among the categories of reasons he gave her, one, he said, I'm very powerful. There is nobody as powerful as I am. Second, he told her, you'll be the primary queen among all riches that are here. All the others will follow you. You can be the reigning queen. Third, he told her, enjoy with me. Ramasva Mayasaha. So there is so much enjoyment in Lanka in terms of convenience, comfort, opulence. Thousands of servants who look up to Ravana will be eager to serve Sita Devi. So all sorts of material comforts. Then he says, I'm informidable. There's nobody who can attack me. Not just that Lanka is in the middle of the ocean, sitting on a mountain top, but actually in the Devatas, the Rakshasas, of course, they're all mine, but Gandharvas, Yakshas, Kinnaras, nobody can access. So you're trapped. You have no other choice but to accept. Now, if none of the Devatas can come, how can a mere human being like Rama come? So another reason is you will not see Ramachandra again, or Ramachandra will not see you again. And I'm very powerful. Having given these sets of reasons, Sita Devi responds back and pretty much refutes all of his claims and all of his chest thumping. So I'm going to read you some aspects of her response. It's not the exhaustive list, but you get an idea of how she responded back. So as soon as she kept the blade of grass between her and him, she says, Raja Dasaratho Namaha Dharma Setu Ivachalaha Satyasandha Parityago Yasya Putraha Sa Raghava. So he says, she said that Raja Dasaratho Nama Dharma Setu Iva. That I am, my husband Ramachandra is the son of the great king Dasharatha, who himself is Dharma Setu, means the person who is the bridge between this world and that world on the basis of, or walks on the bridge of Dharma. And such a person's son, Yasya Putra Sa Raghava, is Ramachandra. Okay, so you are thinking that Rama is some ordinary person. He may be a human being, but comes in a very, very powerful lineage. And he's the son of Dasharatha. The title that this king got was Dasharatha. His original name is Dharmaraja. But he got this title Dasharatha because he could drive his chariot in 10 directions without any obstruction, which means his chariot could go anywhere and no one would be able to block him or check him. So first is the dynasty in which Sri Ramachandra appears. Then she says, Ramo nama sadharmatma trishu lokeshu vishrutaha. In all the three worlds, Ramachandra is very famous as Dharmatma. And you said that Rama is some weak tapasvi walking around in the forest. Let me tell you, Dirgha Bahu, his arms are very long. It's a sign of beauty and strength. Vishalakshaha, very big, powerful eyes. So big eyes means that he is not easily fazed. He doesn't easily become scared of any situation. Daivatam Sapati Mama. So he is my Lord and Master. Ikshvaku Nam Kule Jataha. He was born in the line of Ikshvakus. Simhaskandha. His shoulders are like that of a lion's. Mahadyuti. He has great effulgence. Lakshmanena Sahabhrata. Yahate Pranan Harishyati. Lakshmanena Sahabhrata. He who has Lakshmana as his brother, Te Prana Harishyati. He will take away your life. And this reference of Ikshvakunam Kule Jataha, born in the line of Ikshvaku, is a reference to, according to Tattva Deepika, which is a commentary on Ramayana, that one of Ramachandra's ancestors was by the name Anaranya. So Anaranya, Anaranya's father's name was Haryashva. And Haryashva was like a grandfather or a great-grandfather of Ramachandra. So Anaranya, what happened is, he had a fight with Ravana. And Ravana defeated him. And was I think also killed him or something. When Anaranya cursed Ravana, that don't think of yourself so arrogantly as you are, your death will come from one of my own descendants. That's one of the reasons why Sri Ramachandra appears in the Raghu dynasty as a descendant of Anaranya to fulfill the promise that, or the curse that Anaranya gave Ravana or spoke upon Ravana. Then he had said that Janasthan is my outpost, which is very powerful. So then she is telling him, Pratyaksham yadi aham tasya tvaya syam dharshati balat shaita tvam hataha sankhe janasthane yatha kharaha. And I have been, she says, gharshita balat. You have pulled me away. Balat is out of force. And for that reason, Shayita Tvam Hataha. you will lie down on the ground killed. Sankhye, in a battle, Janasthano yatha kara, just the way Khara fell on the ground flat by Ramachandra's arrows. Then she says, Ya ete rakshasa proktaha ghora rupa mahabala ragavo nivartita nirvishah sarve suparne pannaga yatha. This Ramachandra will pick you up so easily and finish you off just the way Garuda picked up snakes for fulfilling a promise he gave to his mother. So for Garuda, picking up a snake is very easy. Doesn't take much effort. So don't underestimate Sri Ramachandra's powers. You may think he's some ordinary human being roaming around in the forest like an ascetic. You're a great Rakshasa hiding inside a big fort that is up in the middle of the sea. No, all of that will be gone. Then she talks about Ramachandra's arrows. Tasya ja vipramukta te sharaha kanchana bhushanaha. When Ramachandra releases his golden arrows, kanchana bhushana means decorated with gold. Te sharaha, when he fires arrows at you, vipramukta. Vipramukta, mukta means to release, and vipramukta means to release with great concentration and in a very forcible way. Shariram vadhishyanti ganga kulam iva urmayaha. Just the way the Ganges river constantly beats the banks with the waves, unstoppable waves, similarly Ramachandra's arrows will hit you in an unstoppable way. Then she says, Asuraiva Suraiva Tvam yadi avadhyo asiravana utpadya samuhata vairam jivana tasya na mokshasya. You may not be killed by the demigods or the demons. Asuraivaha, suraivaha, tvam yadi avadhyaha asi. You may be indestructible in the hands of demons or demigods, but not the case. When Ramachandra faces off with you, you will not be alive. He will be the Terminator. He will come as the Terminator and very much tie you up like an animal that is tied up before sacrifice. And that animal cannot run away. It is going to die on the altar of sacrifice. He will treat you like that. Pashoho yatha guptasya iva jivitam tava durlabha. An animal that is tied for sacrifice is surely going to die. So you're also going to die. Then she says, why fight? Even Ramachandra's glance will finish you off. Yadi pashyet sa ramaha tvam rosha deeptena chakshusha. Rosha deeptena, his eyes bright or illumined by anger. Yadi pashyetaha, if Ramachandra sees you with eyes brilliant with anger, rakshaha tvam adya nirdagdaha yatha rudrena manmada. He can finish you just by his angry glance, the way Lord Shiva by one angry glance burnt Cupid, Manmadha. Yatha rudrena manmatha. So one glance is sufficient. Forget about even arrows. Then she says, Gataha ayutvam, Gataha shrikaha, Gataha satvo, Gataha indriyaha. Lankam vaidhavyam samyukta tvat kritena bhavishyati. This is a very powerful prediction, she says. And in one way, it's a refutation where he said, I'm youthful, you're youthful. Don't waste youthhood. Then he said, don't waste the wealth that is there. Let's enjoy our senses. So she tells him, all of that is temporary. This is the conviction of a devotee, that while these things may be important, in the ultimate or in the grand scheme, the conviction is that we want to be situated in our devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sikshashtaka says, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki. Ahetuki. A causeless reason, a causeless devotional service. Meaning I'm not doing this for the sake of. Na dhanam, na janam. I'm not engaging in bhakti for money. I'm not engaging in bhakti for followers, etc. Ahaituki. Now, it doesn't mean that a devotee says, I don't want any financial situation. I don't want any friends. That's a very, very, very elevated state that a common pedestrian practitioner like me cannot necessarily express so. But what one can express is that let me not be attached to those possessions. It doesn't mean that one cannot have the possessions. The idea is to not be attached to the possessions. So for us, the verse na dhanam doesn't mean I don't want money. It just means I don't want the attachment to money. But I need it to live my life, to pay my bills, to live in a house, to do things in this world. If Krishna were to take away all our wealth in one yank, one shot, we would be very, very restless. I know I would be. So Sita, in the similar vein of na dhanam, na janam, she's saying all of this is temporary. Gata ayuhu. One's youth, one's life itself will go away. Tvam gata shrikaha. Shrika means, Shri is opulence. So this Shrikaha means all the opulence that you have, all of that is also going to go away. Gata sattvaha, your existence is also going to go away. Gata indriyaha. All the sensual pleasure, the sensual power that you have, the senses also, they will become weak. Lankam vaidhavya samyuktam. Samyukta means to achieve or to be connected or to be in the state of. Vaidhavya, Lankam Vaidhavya. Vaidhavya, literally Vidhava, means a widow. The word Vidhava comes from Dhava, is opulence, or a husband. So Madhava means the husband of the goddess of fortune, and Vidhava means one without a husband. So Vaidhavyam Samyukta Lanka, this entire Lanka will become widowed, which means the master, you Ravana, will be gone. Tvat Krutena Bhavishyati. And the reason for Lanka, reason for all the senses, reason for everything going away is your action. By your one act of bringing me here by force, everything will be finished. And then she very compassionately tells him to rethink. Nate papam idam karma sukha udarkam bhavishyati. Ravana, by this action that you have done, there is no happiness in it. Ya aham nita, the way you have brought me here, vina bhavan pati, without vina bhavam pati, without my husband, who's my heart is attached to him, parshvat tvaya vanat. It is not going to bring any happiness for you, because I am not happy either. Sahi devara samyukto mama bhrata mahadyuti nirbhayo viryam ashritya shunye vasti dandake. Vasati dandake. This husband of mine and my brother-in-law, Devara, by his own strength, however, is now you thought that, oh, they are living without anything in Dandaka, so I can take away Sita. And she tells him, Sa te viryam darpam balam utsekam cha tatha vidham apaneshyati gatrebhya sharavarshena samyuge. My husband will shower a rain of arrows, and those arrows will destroy your viryam, your virility, the prowess that you're showing, that will go away. Darpam, your arrogance will be finished. Balam, your strength will be gone. Utsekam. Utsekam means the sense of impudence, arrogance that you have. And yat tatha vidham. In that way, all of that will be go. Apaneshyati. Will all be finished. So with that warning, the scene, and there are a few more things she says, pretty much warning Ravana. So while this is happening in Lanka, Valmiki Rishi, who is an excellent storyteller, takes our attention. The camera pans from Lanka back to Janasthan area, where, if we remember, Sri Ramachandra had gone running in pursuit of Marica. And Lakshmana was sent away by Sita Devi. So Lakshmana is following that sound of Marica that sounded like Ramachandra. Ha Sita, ha Lakshmana, is what the voice had said. So he was following that voice, knowing very well that it is Marica and not Sri Ramachandra, but the order of Sita Devi was compelling enough, although the order of Ramachandra was not to come. Still, the order of Sita was compelling. And so he is pursuing. Now, Ramachandra has killed Marica, realized that it is just a demon, and he is walking back. And so they meet somewhere in the forest. So chapter 57 starts with Rakshasam Mrigarupena Charantam Kamarupinam Nihatya Ramo Maricham Turnam Pati Nyavartata. Turnam means quickly or completely. So after killing Marica, who was a demon that could change form by his desire, Ramachandra quickly turned back on the path to go back to where their cottage was. Tasya Santwaramanasya means very quickly as he was returning, Drashtu Kamasya Maithilim Kruraswara Atha Gomayuhu Vinanada Asya Prishtataha. Prishtha means behind. Agra is in the front, Prishtha is behind. Behind Ramachandra, Gomayu, jackals, Vinanada, were started howling. So jackals were howling in what way? Krura Swara, in a very loud, cruel way, like my neighbor's dog, if you can hear him. So that is the bad omen. It's an indicator that something wrong is happening, or something wrong has happened with Ramachandra. So tasya swaram agyaya darunam roma harshanam. The yelling of the jackals was so terrible that Ramachandra's hair was standing on end. Chintayamasa gomayoho swarena parishankita. When he heard the jackals howling, parishankita, there was a doubt in Ramachandra's mind. And the doubt was, Ashubham Bataha Manye. Bata means alas or thus, for sure. Aham Manye, I consider this Ashubham. Gomayu vashyate tata. Swasti syat api vaidehya rakshasai bhakshanam vina. I hope that Sita has not been eaten away by the Rakshasas. Swasti syat, I hope she's safe. Vaidehya rakshasai bhakshanam. The Rakshasas have not eaten her. Then he says, Marichena tu vigyaya swaram alakshya mamakam. Vikrushtam mrigarupena Lakshmana shrunuyad yadi. Lakshmana should have heard my voice, heard the voice of Maricha disguised like my voice. Sa saumitri swara shrutva tam cha hitva athamaitilim taya eva kshipram mat sakasham iha eshyati. So Ramachandra says, when they heard this voice, I have a sense that if Maithili, if Sita hears this voice, she will tell Lakshmana to go and find out if I am in distress. If Lakshmana would hear it, he may recognize my voice and he may also rush towards me. And this may be an entire ploy of the Rakshasas to sidetrack Lakshmana and me and make Sita their target. I have a doubt whether both of them will be safe in the forest. Now, I have destroyed the Rakshasas in Janasthana, and therefore the demons are harboring a grudge against me. So it is not surprising that they would want to attack. Iti evam chintayan Ramaha Shrutva Gomayu Niswanam. This is what Ramachandra was thinking when he heard the jackals howling. Nivartamanaha tvarito jagama ashramam atmavan atmanaha cha apanayantam mrigarupena rakshasa. When Ramachandra heard this, he was quickly returning towards his own cottage or hermitage. So as he was entering Janasthan, Ajagama Janasthan Raghava Parishankitaha Tam Dina Manasam Dinam Aseduhu Mrigapakshinaha. So while he was moving towards Janasthana, around him, the animals and birds looked very sad. Tam Dina Manasam Dinam. He was also sad. All the Mriga Pakshinaha, they were also Dinam, very sad. So then he started doubting that something is wrong. Savyam Kratva Mahatmana Ghoracha Susruja Swaram. Savyam Kritva means moving towards the left. So the animals and birds went from his right to the left. So that is a sign of inauspiciousness. Of course, nowadays in Kali Yuga, everything is jumbled. But this, we've talked again and again, this is called Shakunam or Shakuna. Shakuna means birds. That is why Vishwamitra's daughter from Menaka was taken care of by a set of birds. And therefore she got the name Shakuntala, because she was taken care of the Shakuna, the Shakunis, the birds. So Shakunam means indication or nature indicating something, premonitions through birds and animals. When they move from right to left, it is considered inauspicious. And while he saw that these birds were indicating something inauspicious, Lakshmana came from the other side. Tato Lakshmanam ayantam Dadarsha Vigata Prabham. Vigata Prabham. All of his effulgence was lost for Lakshmana. Tato Avidure Ramena Samiyam Sa Lakshmanaha Vishanna Sa Vishannena Dukkhita Dukkha Bhaginaha. Both of them were in a very sad condition and they saw each other. On seeing Lakshmana, Ramachandra, in one sense, was happy, but he saw that Sita was not with Lakshmana, so he reproached him. He took Lakshmana's left hand in his own hands grihitva cha karam savyam. Savyam means left. He took Lakshmana's left hand. And uvacha madhura urdakam. Idam parusham artavat. Very interesting. Huh? Here, I'll break it down again. Uvacha, Ramachandra spoke, madhuram, in a very sweet way. Udarkam means something that you do now, but will mature later. So some long-term context. So uvacha madhur udarkam idam parusham artavat. Artavat means he's full of distress, and so his words were harsh, but they will turn sweet later. So Lakshmana may think, oh, Ramachandra is speaking harsh, but we know Ramachandra never speaks harshly. So Valmiki is telling us that to sound, they are harsh, but they have a sweet effect later. He says, Aho Lakshmana, te garhyam te kritam. You have made a huge mistake. Tvam vihaya tam. You have come here without her. Sitam iha agata saumya kachit swasti bhavetiti. Is everything all right? Should I have a doubt if everything will be all right, that you are here and Sita is not with you? Name asti samshayo viraha sarvatha janakatmaja vinashta bhakshita va aparakshase vanacharibihi. The forest dwelling Rakshasas, without doubt, would have either killed her or eaten her away. So I'm only seeing something inauspicious that's going to happen. Tell me, Lakshmana, what happened? Api Lakshmana Sitayaha Samagram Prapnuvan Vahe Jivantya Purusha Vyagra Sutaya Janakasya Vai. Oh, Lakshmana, who were like a tiger among men. Can we actually find out if Sita is even alive? When I look at the deer running in this direction and the jackals loudly howling, it only tells me that something wrong is going to happen. This Maricha in the form of a deer took me away. I was following him and somehow killed him. And when I killed him, he became into this disfigured Maricha. And now my left eye, chakshuhu cha savyam kurute vikaram, my left eye is twitching, which is also another indicator that asamshayam Lakshmana na asti Sita. Without any doubt, Sita is not there in the cottage anymore. Hrata, she could have been kidnapped. Mrita, she could have been dead or killed. Va pathivartate va, or she could have been lost in her way. She may have wandered away in the wrong path. Something has gone wrong, Lakshmana. I'm giving all such indicators. So when he saw, now this is chapter 58, Ramachandra became impatient and started asking Lakshmana all these questions. And then he told Lakshmana, this Sita, who left everything, she left royal comforts, she left the great palaces, she left the company of her sisters, she left the company of all the loving relatives and walked into the forest alone with me. And that Sita, where is she now? Where is she? Kva sa, that's the phrase that repeats again and again. Kva sa, where is she? Kva means where, sa is she. And he's asking him, Kva sa Lakshmana Vaidehi, where is she? Where is she? Then he said, when I left the kingdom and was ready to walk into Dandaka, she stood right next to me in sharing my own vow of going to the forest. Where is she? Yam vina na utsahe vira, without who I have absolutely no enthusiasm to do anything. Muhurtam api jivitum. I don't want to even live for one more moment without Sita. Kvasa, where is she? Kvasa, where is she? Prana Sahaya me Sita. She is my life. Sura Suta Upama. She is like the daughter of a great demigod. I cannot live without her. Patitvam Amaranam va Prithivyam cha api Lakshmanaha. I don't care for kingdom. Patitvam Amaranam. I don't want to be the lord of the demigods. I don't want to be the lord of the human beings or of the earth. Vinatam tapaniya abham na ichhayema janakatmaja. Without her bright, effulgent presence next to me, I don't want anything in my life. This is the pangs of separation that Ramachandra is expressing to Lakshmana. From a worldly perspective, it feels like a husband who's attached to his wife and crying. Oh, by the way, husband being attached to wife, nothing wrong. It's a good indicator. The problem that generally we have is that couples are not attached to each other. In this case, it's not just attachment, it's the love of the Supreme Lord or experiencing the ecstasy of separation from Sita. Kachit jivita vaidehi pranaihi priyatara mama. She is dearer to me than my own lives. Kachit pravajanam vira name mithya bhavishyati. Without her presence, my life is useless. Sita nimittam saumitre mrite mayi gate tvai kachit sakama sukhita kaikeyi sa bhavishyati. He says that I am concerned for Sita because when you get back to Ayodhya alone, it seems like Kaikeyi's desires finally will be fulfilled because she has been the instrument of this condition here. Sita nimittam saumitre mrite mai gate tvai. So he's saying when you return to Lanka alone, when you return to Ayodhya alone. So hidden in that is his way of telling Lakshmana that if Sita is dead, I will kill myself. I am not going to go back to Ayodhya. I am not going to live for one more moment. You will have to go back to Ayodhya all by yourself. And Kaikeyi's grand plan will become successful or has become successful. Kaikeyi, with her son, she will think that her purpose has been achieved, Lakshmana. At that time, can you imagine what my mother Kausalya will go through? Kausalya kachit saumyena Kaikeyi, oh gentle Lakshmana, do you have any idea how my very, very simple, gentle mother, how she will feel? Yadi jivati vaidehi gamishyam ashramam punaha. Now, if Sita is alive, let's quickly go back to the hermitage and find out. Suvritta yadi vritta sa pranan tyakshanti Lakshmana. If for some reason she is dead, if she's alive, let's first search for her. If she is dead, I will Tyakshami Lakshmanaha Pranan. I will also give up my life. Yadi Mam Ashramam Gatam Vaidehi Na Abhibhashate. If I go back to the hermitage and I don't see her face to face. Punaha Praha Sita Sita Vinashyami Lakshmanaha. If I don't see Sita again, when I get back to the hermitage, I will breathe my last breath. Bruhi Lakshmana. Lakshmana, tell me, Vaidehi yadi jivita vanava. Is she alive or dead? Tell me. Tvai pramatte rakshobhihi bhakshita va tapasvini. Tvai pramatta. Pramatta It literally means mad. In this case, pramatta means you are becoming spaced out or losing concentration or focus or not being alert. Tvayi pramatta rakshobhi. You were supposed to guard her, which you have not done. And Sita is Sukumari cha Bala cha. She's very young and she's very delicate. Nityam cha adukkha darshini. In her whole life, she has never seen anything sad or painful. Adukkha darshini. Mat viyogena vaidehi. And in the absence of my presence, vyaktam shochiti durmanaha. She will be completely broken-hearted in sorrow. Sarvatha rakshasa tena jivhena suduratmana. There are demons like Maricha all around this forest. Vadata Lakshmana. She had said, "Oh Lakshmana, iti uchchai tava api jivitam bhayam." When you heard that Maricha's voice in my voice, "Oh Lakshmana," did you become scared? Did you even for a moment have fear in your heart? Shrutaha cha manye vaidyeha saswaraha sadrusho mama trastaya preshitaha tvam cha drashtum mam shigramagata. I hope Sita heard that voice, and I hope, I have a sense that she also heard it, and she may have forced you to go quickly, and she must have hastened you to come meet me. But whatever you have done, Lakshmana, you have not done the right thing. Sarvatha tu kritam kashtam sitam utsujjadavane pratikartum nrishansam rakshata dattam anantaram. This whole plan of the demons to separate us is become successful. And why would you do something like this? And saying like that, alas, alas, they reached their ashrama. Then, when they reached Janasthan, where the ashram is, then Ramachandra starts to behave. The ecstasy of separation has become heightened. And now, Ramachandra starts to behave almost irrationally. So these are the two verses. Vigarhamano anujam artarupam kshudha shramena eva pipasayacha. When they came back to the hermitage, Ramachandra was intensely hungry. Artharupam means in a distressed condition. Kshudha, out of hunger. Shramena, out of lot of hard work because he had ran after the demon. And pipasayacha, and thirsty. In that condition, yet he did not eat or drink or sit down. He was too anxious for Sita. So these things, although they were tormenting him, did not stop him for looking for Sita. Vinishwanam shushkah mukho vishannam pratishayam prapta samiksha shunyam. Then he entered the hermitage and saw that it was empty. She was not there. So what he did is, very quickly, he ran out of the ashramam. Swam ashramam sa pravigahya viro vihara deshan anusrutya kanchitaha. He ran out and went to the place where Sita would often vihara, would move around and enjoy. He went there and he said, yes, this is the place where she would come here and there to enjoy and to come for a stroll. Etad iti eva nivasa bhuma prahashta roma vitito babhuva. Then he said, no, he went somewhere else. He saw the trees where she would pluck flowers and said, yes, this is the place where she would pluck flowers. Then he ran to another place and he said, yes, this is the place where she would play with deer and other animals and birds. Then he ran to another corner and said, that's the place where she would offer her prayers every day. But she's not anywhere here. And he came back into the empty cottage and said, Lakshmana, I cannot find Sita. And then next week we will see how Ramachandra reprimands Lakshmana. But right now he's in a state of complete frenzy and anxiety that he cannot find Sita in the cottage or in any of the places that she would normally be. And she's not there, so he's worried. She has not left a message. She's not there. Her phone is not there. She has left. Nothing, no signs, no indication of where she might be. And Sri Ramachandra is in complete distress. So in that condition, I want to open for discussion with this disclaimer, if you will. Now, all of us are hearing Ramayana story. So we are spectators. We are not in the pastime. We're only hearing the pastime. So from our side, rationally speaking, we can analyze this to say how many possible other permutations could be there by which this situation could have been avoided. Right? Lakshmana should have said, doesn't matter, I'm not going to leave you. Right? Lakshmana could have taken Sita with him. Ramachandra didn't have to run all the way to kill Maricha. After some time, Ramachandra could have said, hey, something's not right here. Let me get back. Lakshmana could have gone away from Sita's vision, but have hid himself to protect Sita so that Ravana could have. So we can all come up with multiple reasons why this pastime could have happened differently. And the answer is hindsight is 2020. We can all assess I could have, should have, must have about things in the past, number one. Or second, it's always easy to tell someone else what they're not doing right. It's always easy. But when it is happening to us in first person and it is happening fast, it is very, very difficult to assess at that moment what is going on. So a couple of days back, I was speaking with somebody and I liked the discussion that came up and I want to share with you. That we were discussing that, hey, you know, we have so many seminars, retreats about the holy name, about being free from anger, from attachment. Each one of us can recite umpteen number of shlokas about these topics. We can tell someone else how to chant, how to keep the mind focused, how to pay attention to the syllables of the mantra. All of that we can tell someone else. We can even dissect someone else's life into very clear what is going wrong. So seminars, retreats, they all happen on the sidewalk, or as we call in India, footpath, where the pace is very slow, but life happens on the fast track. Things move at such speed that what we can grasp while we are walking, we cannot grasp while we are in a high-speed chase. And the whole idea of sadhana bhakti is to make these teachings our inherent nature, which takes time. It's gradual. But life happens in the high-speed lane. So we can sit here and analyze what went wrong for those three, Sri Ramachandra, Sita Devi, and Lakshmana. When it is happening to us in our own life, it is not easy to suddenly decide and figure out what's the best thing to say, what's the best thing to do. It's very difficult. So depending on what kind of questions we may have that in context. So let's see. Long question here. So Shamakunda started off with questions. So let's see. Question number 1. Lord Ramachandra's grief is considered as representative of the grief of the Supreme Lord toward the material world. However, from the pastimes in Ramayana and Bhagavatam, it appears that his grief is limited to that of his internal energy, and that he is happily enacting pastimes with them when he regains them. It seems that his grief of separation from the marginal energy is something which the commentators write, but not substantiated by the verses of the scripture. Your thought. Ramachandra or Sri Krishna manifests this pastime of separation, one for his own enjoyment, because it is part of the love that is being enhanced, but at the same time, it is not that he doesn't experience that about the jivas. It is also there, and he is also eager that the jivas unite with him, that they make the choice of having him in their lives. Now, is it that like how he is crying for Sita Devi, rolling on the ground or totally besides himself? May or may not be, but is there a sense of separation? Absolutely. Here, because she's the internal potency, we are seeing, or we are getting to see it. But in our life, we may not get to see Ramachandra's separation from us because we are not there. Sita is not seeing how Ramachandra is crying for her. She asks Hanuman, is he doing all right? That's when Hanuman says, well, he's not doing all right. So others may see how Sri Ramachandra or Krishna is eager for us to come back. We may not see it. And just because we don't see it, we cannot assume that it's not there. So that's the first. And so the commentators give us insight of generally we think that it's the devotee who's eager and yearning for the Lord. But these pastimes indicate that the Lord is also yearning for his living entities. Second question. Lord Ramachandra said that he will give up his life if Sita were not to be present when he returns to the ashram. The reality is Sita was not present. But Rama, who's known to never speak a lie, does not keep his word. Your thoughts. So there is something called words spoken in sense of separation. That words are not promises. He's not making a vow. I vow by Om Tat Sat, I will give up my life. What he's saying is that Sita is so dear to me that her absence is such that I may be alive like a human being, but there is no utsaha, there is no zest for life. I'm just like a dead body, it just happens to move from one place to another. Now, this is just for a small period. Later, they're going to be separated for almost 10,000 years. And he ruled like a king, but internally was in a complete mess in terms of the separation that he was experiencing from Sita. Na jivita, he said, na utsahe. I will give up my life means that she is dearer than my own life. Without her, I'm just a body. There is no life in me. That's the meaning we're supposed to take out of it. Here's another question. I have two questions. Did Lakshmana feel guilty for Lord Ramachandra chastising him? Seems like a very difficult decision to be in for one, and to be continued and to continue serving. Yes, Lakshmana was in a very damned if you do, damned if you don't condition. And that is how the servants of the Lord are put into, because this way or that way, sometimes it doesn't seem the right thing. So you have to pick which is the one, whatever it is, you pick the one that the heart drives you to, not you, drives the devotee to. In this case, Lakshmana left Sita, of course, from a grander perspective, but here he didn't want to get Sita Devi's wrath. It's easier to handle Ramachandra than to handle Sita, because the opposite is also true. When it comes to being compassionate and mercy, he begged her to please convince Ramachandra to let him come to the forest. Here also, her anger or her order is higher than his. So we are all followers of Srimati Radharani, or the consort. So her order is higher. And that's what Lakshmana followed, which is going to get chastised by the Lord for. But that's what he followed. It's not easy. Yes, thank you. I was hoping someone will ask. Lord Rama got Bala and Atibala mantras by Vishwamitra, by which he would never feel hungry, thirsty, anything. Then why was Ramachandra tormented by these? Excellent question. And I said it intentionally, and I read those verses hoping someone would ask. Just because he has Bala and Atibala, these great powers are not used for ordinary circumstances. They are not misused. They are used for very specific situations. Bala and Atibala is not trivialized by daily use. For example, a person may have very fancy clothes and, let's say, fancy perfumes and jewelry, but just for hanging out at home every day, one doesn't put them on. They use it for special occasions. Food also, these kinds of things. They may have very nice beverage, but it's kept for special occasions, although it's there. It's just like Sunday, suddenly feels, oh, I'm thirsty, let me just drink it off. Usually not like that. So Bala and Atibala are very powerful powers, powerful and meant for special occasions and not to be trivialized. And so it's not like he came rushing into the ashram, Sita is not there, I'm hungry, oh, Bala and Atibala. No. All right, next one. Atulya, you have your hand raised.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. First, Radha has a question.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, you said that Ram could live with Sita for 1 second, but then at the end of the Ramayana, when Sita was vanished, he lived almost the rest of his life without Sita. So, how's that?
You would rather that he die?
No.
it is separation is such that one is at the verge of death but cannot die. It's just the nature of separation in love. One is very close to death but cannot die. The residents of Vrindavan, Sri Ramachandra, Sita Devi, and later also on the verge of death but cannot die. And that is more painful, because if a person dies, the agony ends. But they are alive, and so the agony is intensified. And more the agony that is intensified, the more that love becomes intense. Now, I don't have experience of such separation, so it's hard to say, but it is true. Love of this, when love is very intense, the pain is also very intense. When love is very little, pain is also very little. So I, who doesn't have love for the Lord, cannot say more than this because I have no first-hand experience. Someday maybe, but not right now. But that's the nature of love.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hari Bol Atulya.
So, Prabhu, you were giving this example of, observing, being an observer and walking on a footpath. It's much easier to integrate all these, principles.
Right.
So, I was wondering, like, what brings one to applying them when one is in moving in high speed. And one thought that I had was that once we have practiced it, so at emotional level and at physical level, I'm not sure, but at emotional level, when one is, it's kind of when your nervous system learns it, you learn it just the way our body breathes and our body does so many functions that we're not aware of. So that was one thought. So I request your comments on it and elaboration and your own thoughts on what makes it to what could bring those principles to a fast-paced life.
Sadhya means perfection. And sadhana is the means for the perfection. So Rupa Goswami has given us sadhana, that we practice these principles in the day-to-day. Because life will challenge us. And what we face here is also part of the practice. We are preparing for serving the Supreme Lord without the head being involved in it, meaning the heart is the one driving it. But for the heart to drive, the head has to assimilate these teachings. And so practice, there is no alternative to practicing bhakti. There is no alternative to sadhana. And in the small events of life, our sadhana gets a little practice. Then we come and assess, and then we learn better from that. Then we assess, and then we learn. We assess, we learn. Just like someone who's wants to play music in a big orchestra, they practice at home, they practice in a group, they play for small audience, they fine-tune their skill, and they play in a big auditorium, like a grand thing. Whether it is music or a sport or something, there is no alternative to practicing. Similarly, there is no alternative to practicing these, I'm calling them skills, but these principles of relationship with the Supreme Lord and the relationship with his energies. Unless we practice, there is no way of it becoming our second nature in the fast lane.
That makes sense, Prabhu. Thank you.
Shuchi, you had your hand raised.
I had Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I had a similar question where Atulya Mataji just touched upon. Thank you.
Okay, here's another one. The pangs of separation due to Ravana's kidnapping is due to love of separation, while the separation later was duty arising out of duty. Or the separation was more out of duty. Is that the right understanding? It is right from the external context of it. In this context was different, that context was different. This situation was different, that situation was different. But the separation or the pang that one experiences, or Lord Ramachandra experiences, is not different quality. It's the same pang of separation. In this case, it is very heightened because one, this has never happened. Second, it has happened by the Rakshasas. So there is this element of danger mixed in it, bhaya. And there, yes, it is, the context was out of duty or something, but it is still, he's not going to see her at all. So the context may be different, but the pain or the agony is very similar. I'm using the words pain and agony, although it is the heightening of love, but that love is in the or through the medium of agony. That is what separation is. It's called Karunya. Karunya Rasa is the primary rasa in Sri Ramayana. Okay, anything else? Okay. Oh, Stira.
I have one final question. From the way you described, it looked like Lakshmana never spoke until they reached the ashram.
It sounds like you're talking from Mars. You're muted, I think.
Okay. So the way you described looked like Lakshmana never spoke until they reached the ashram, apparently.
What? Until they reach somewhere near the ashram, yes.
Lakshmana never spoke.
To who?
To Ramachandra. Like
they're just meeting now.
Yeah, but they walked all the way from where they met to the ashram.
Yeah, and Ramachandra is speaking. He's expressing what's going on for him. And you think a younger brother will tell the older one, just shut up and listen to what I have to say? He is himself in a very desolate condition. The direction you're going in is what? Ramachandra is misunderstanding him and he didn't defend himself, Lakshmana.
No, apparently he's asking question that what happened, and then he himself is answering, but then Lakshmana is not answering. Yeah,
the nature of, with all the indicators, the animals, the jackals, the birds, the twitching of the left eye, Ramachandra is extremely anxious. And so is Lakshmana. And now he's going to get reprimanded by Ramachandra like anything. He's going to say something. You're going to hear it next time.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Rama's interaction with Jatayu, not next week, but perhaps somewhere in the next week or so, because they have to meet Jatayu yet. They haven't met him. But coming up soon.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. May I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
So, Prabhu, the whole Ramayana is like full of emotions that probably we can relate to. So I was thinking, what is the difference between material emotions and spiritual emotions? So definitely the people, devotees in Ramayana are experiencing spiritual emotions, and part of it is there's the Supreme Lord here. But if we were to remove that, not even remove, but just kind of think that what would I have done, or what would I have felt, or how am I feeling, or the emotion aspect of it, then what, how, or my other same question asked in a different way is that how can I make my emotions spiritual than be, stuck in them, or basically it's using emotions in a spiritual journey than just getting stuck with it. And okay, I say that I'm just feeling something, but how can I qualify to be feeling spiritual feelings?
Jnana is all here. Bhakti is all here. If we never shed a tear for the Supreme Lord or for the devotees, then something is not right. The heart is hard. Our whole process is to soften the heart with emotions. most material emotions, we call them material, not because they're happening in this world. Material because they're happening in relation to me. For example, I cry because I am in pain. I cry because the definition of my is what I'm identifying them with the body. So spiritualizing means the emotions don't have to go away. The filter through which the emotions manifest needs to change. So one may have affection for one's own family. That's nice. Imagine living in a household where family members have no emotions between themselves. What kind of family is a devotee family? We cannot have any emotions for each other. That's the great alarm bell ringing that there is no bhakti there as a bhakti family. But in the absence of bhakti, there may be a lot of emotions for each other, but it's very centered around oneself. So the art, or in bhakti, hopefully we see our family members as parts and parcels of Krishna. We see our feelings for them in relation to Krishna, and nothing wrong with having feelings because they're also belonging to Krishna. And then that emotion should be for people who are not necessarily in our household, but when we see pain, we see some agony, something should move. That's called compassion. It may be limited now, but by definition of bhakti, it should move the heart. Whatever happens should move the heart. Either anything auspicious or inauspicious, the heart is moving. Why would Narottam Das Thakur say, Pashane Kutibo Matha? The most learned person saying, I'm going to bang my head against a stone. Someone may ask, well, he said like that. Why didn't he go fulfill that word?
Yeah.
It's the expression that is what they feel like doing. There's no use living. What's the point? The world seems vacant. Anale Pashibo, I will enter fire. So emotions are there. They have to be in relation to Supreme Lord. In relation to means the Lord, Sri Ramachandra or Sita and Ramachandra, or Radha and Krishna, or Lakshmi and Narayana. I am yours and you are mine. That relationship has to, not just in words, but it has to be felt and lived. And we are on that path to get there by Gaur-Nitai's grace and the disciplic succession's grace. May that happen, hopefully in this lifetime. But that's the whole idea.
Yes, Prabhu. Makes sense, Prabhu. I think there's a big, it's a big topic of how emotions get so easily missed or suppressed in the name of devotion, and how it's important. And then also then further is spiritualizing them. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. And someone texted that King Kulashekara's mood was very much in that spirit. He would get his army and go because Sita was abducted. Or any of our Gaudiya Acharyas have the sense of great ecstasy when they are participating, they're in that mood. When Rupa Goswami would write Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava, when Vrindavan would experience, he would write about the experience of separation of the residents of Vrindavan. His writing was so intense that in Ted Kadamba, where he was writing all these books, the trees would shed leaves. Even in spring, they would shed leaves. The creepers would become dry. The birds would stop chirping. And everything would become gloomy. No flowers would bloom. And then when he wrote about the meeting of Krishna and his devotees, the trees would be in full bloom. The creepers would be around the trees. The birds would be. His writing could move both moving and non-moving entities around him. That was his power. Obviously, he's also experiencing. Raghunath Das Goswami could not read Srimad Bhagavatam because his eyes, the tears from his eyes would smudge the ink. So the verses were not visible for him. We are in that line, or lines like this, where the heart is supposed to be moving strongly. And likewise, Sri Ramachandra also has love. Most people have a picture of Ramachandra as a very stiff, straight-jacketed person. Maryada Purushottam. And Valmiki Ramayana and other Ramayanas will prove to us that is just not that. Very, very emotionally active and expressive. Okay, I've said too much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, we'll end here for this week. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, one small question, Prabhu. You just, pronounced some, somewhat relatable thing. If you don't mind, I can ask Prabhu otherwise.
Yeah, sure.
Prabhu, you just said that, Ram, we have that, everybody say Maryada Purushottama. So like as a stiff person as such. But when we see Lord Krishna, Radha was feeling separation and she was, all her life she was feeling separation and shedding tears, all that. We don't see here, at least I'm not so much aware of that Krishna shed tears, all that. Here, when we read Ramayana in the separation of Sita, Lord Ram has, expressed his feeling so much, he's talking to trees, all that. But why is that impression that Krishna is, Rasikant, but Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam, like very strong-hearted, not so much expressive. Such impression is there, Prabhu?
I don't have that impression, because Lord Sri Krishna, when he is in Dwaraka, his queens are concerned if everything is okay with him, because he doesn't sleep at night. And when he's lying down in his bed, although he is with the queens who are the greatest in terms of beauty and opulence, and they are willing to offer any services to him, he is constantly crying. The pillows are wet all night because he is only calling out the names of the residents of Vrindavan, Radharani, Lalita, Vishakha, all his friends, Nanda, Yashoda. He's crying and crying and crying, living in Dwaraka. So the queens are concerned. So I don't get that sense, Prabhu. When he's with them in Vrindavan, he plays with them like he is to heighten their affection, he plays as if he's hard to get. But in their absence, he is also suffering. It seems like heartlessly he crossed the Yamuna and went away to Mathura. Not the case. It seems like that. And that is why they say, oh, Krishna, you're heartless. How can you be like that? But he's not like that. And because the residents of Vrindavan, so one devotee's realization, which I appreciate very much, was as Krishna, all of his followers, Radharani, the gopis, the manjaris, the residents of Vrindavan, the friends, everyone literally gave up everything and anything. They were not doing their occupations properly. They were not taking care of their husbands properly. They were not taking care of their children properly. Their minds were not in anything that they were doing. Sometimes they would be cooking and dreaming about Krishna, and the rice would be burnt, the milk will be overflowing. He had completely shattered their hearts. And they lived like worse than sannyasis, because they're not taking, they don't seem to have any worldly duties when they have. As a gesture of appreciation and reciprocation, he appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and takes sannyas, because that is how the residents of Vrindavan lived in separation from him. So he takes sannyas for them, who is Krishna himself. So he's the Akhila Rasamrita Murti. All right. All right, we're going to stop here. It's 10:21. Until we meet again, may the wonderful exchanges of love, especially separation between Sri Ramachandra and Sita Devi, invoke in us an aspiration to be connected strongly, and to also feel a sense of connection and the emotions that are there within the process of bhakti, that we may also experience them such that the Lord and his consort, they are ours and we are theirs. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.